Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Hold the Ball HTB. I hope you guys are well. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you're new, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Look, I want to try and keep the content rolling, but I think during the Christmas period, New Year period, I might be a bit busy. But in saying that, never say never. I'm pretty sure I'll be popping around. But look, what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to be assessing each team's player who I think is under the most pressure. Now, this can be purely subjective because it depends on who you think, right? But sometimes being under pressure isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it can be. Again, it depends on the temperament, depends on who you are as a player. And I guess the intangibles, tangibles thing that I like to sort of talk about every now and then comes into factor. Now, again, with this, like I said, it's opinion-based. Don't think there's no right or wrong, but I'm saying that you can give me your opinions and what you think. But before we get into it, hit that intro. All right, guys, as I said, this is going to be my look at your team's player or most under pressure player. Like I said, it's not good nor bad. So we're going to get straight into it. For the Broncos, I have Adam Reynolds. We all know he's come from the Rabbitohs and coming to a very, in my opinion, lackluster sort of a Broncos team despite some key individual players. I still think that Adam Reynolds, particularly in the fans' eyes from the Broncos anyway, is someone that they're looking to basically be the light in the tunnel, right? They've seen a lot of darkness for a few years, and I think this is finally their crack at something different. Their crack at a result that could potentially carry them to the top 8. So this all relies and falls on Reynolds. I think ultimately as he steers the ship ultimately. Now, again, whether the outcome depends, but I still think Reynolds is put under a lot of pressure, especially when you consider his skill, what he's done. He's a former championship, winner. He's also unfortunately he came close to winning the season gone by, but he didn't. But the point is, he has experience, knowledge, wealth, skill, all that stuff there can be a vital asset, but still, in my opinion, makes him still someone who's very, under pressure, full stop. For the Raiders, I have here is Jared Coker. Again, the Raiders' ferret son, I think one of anyway. You put him in the 80s and 90s, I think he joins in well, he melts in well. However, as of late, Coker, former captain and all that stuff, he hasn't had the best couple of seasons. Has sort of missed some key opportunities defensively, perhaps hasn't been on there offensively, and I suppose injuries don't help. So when you're looking at Jared Coker here, you're looking at somebody who, in my opinion, is being pushed in the back burner when you got a lot of young up-and-coming centers as well. So again, how does he sort of rectify that? How does he bring that back? And again, for someone who was very highly touted, and I'm sure someone who, in my opinion, deserves to be in the Raiders Hall of Fame, personally, how does he bounce back? What's he going to do? We'll find out, I'm sure. For the Bulldogs, Josh Adokar. Simple as that. You got the fastest man in the world, right? Who's going to be strapping on the boots for your team. You're going to want to see results. Simple as that. And I'm sure the Bulldog fans are right behind me here. Obviously, I can look at other players too. TPJ, you can look at Matt Burton. But I think the main attraction here, I think anyway, is Josh Adokar. What can he do? What can he provide for this team? We'll have to wait and see, but I tell you what, it is very juicy, very exciting. But in saying that, it still doesn't take away from the fact that pressure is on his door. We all know Josh Adokar thrives on it. Can he thrive here? Can he thrive here? Have to wait and see. For the Sharks, now, you can go both ways. You can. I found Finucane, I found McInnes, but I can't help but stop at Nico Hines. Again, the highly touted signing from the Sharks. Again, what's he going to do? I'm sure the fans are looking at him, rallying behind him. What can he do? What can he deliver? There's no doubt about it. He's skilled. He's very natural. He's got the talent. He's got it all, the flair. But again, when you're the main guy in that team, can he deliver? So that is, in my opinion, the most pressured player for the Sharks. Now, for Manly. For me, I've gone with DCE. The last couple of years, obviously, fans have been looking at him to try and lift, and there's been times when he's missed. That's the reality. There's been a lot of hoping that he lifts, but there's also been some times where he's missed, and I think he's missed quite dramatically. DCE comes into this as a veteran. He comes into the season ready, prepared, I'm sure. However, the expectations, the pressure is still pretty heavy on him. I think it's probably the heaviest on him because he is the one who drives the ship. Sure, you've got your Tom Travojeviches, your Jake Travojeviches, your foreigns, your Saabs, your Tapaus, I'm sure. However, I still look at DCE as the main driver. And will he produce? Well, again, time will tell. But again, I do believe that he is under pressure to perform, to lift. Because, to be honest, Manly can go one better, if not better than that. To be fair, there are any chances, any other good team, to win the premiership heading into next season, I think anyway. So again, you're looking at DCE to be the driver here. The Storm, I've gone with Cameron Munster here. An interesting choice. I'm sure these other players you can look at. But I think for me personally, considering some recent off-field instances, and I think just the way he sort of performed in some cases, I think this is a man here who will be reflecting on himself, looking at the mirror, saying what can he do, what can he do better, how can he deliver. And again, when you have a coach like Craig Bellamy breathing down your neck, pressure is probably the last thing on your mind. But I think it is what it is. I do believe Cameron Munster is a very pressured man heading into next season. What can he do? We'll see. I know when he's under pressure, he usually brings out diamonds. It's what he is. It's a style player he is. I don't like saying that, but it is what it is. He can. Now, whether he can do it next season, we'll have to wait and see. But again, I still believe there's a lot of pressure hanging down on Mr. Munster over there. Now, we have the Knights, and it was pretty tough, to be fair. But I think I'm going with Tyson Frizzell here. Obviously, he was a prize pick coming in recently, playing for the Knights. And there's been some games when he's been hot and some games when he's been cold. The reason why I've put him under pressure is for someone who has represented Australia, state of origin. He's been there, he's done that. His experience needs to be, I guess, weighted more, if that makes sense. It needs to be more heavier than what it is. I believe personally that he heads into the season as somebody who I think the forwards can work around. They can definitely look to him as inspiration, someone who's been there before. He's a workhorse. He can be, but I still think that doesn't take away from the fact that he's still under pressure. So again, Frizzell heading into next season. What can he do? Can he rally the troops? Because I personally believe his wealth, his experience, his knowledge, his skill, all that stuff, for me personally, makes him a very, I guess, pressured player. Knights fans, what do you think? We're going to the North Queensland Cowboys, and this name here probably won't be surprising to you guys, but I've gone with Valentine's Holmes. Again, a guy with a very hefty price tag. Now, I'm not here to talk about the price tag. If you can get it, good on you. All right? That's what I'm trying to say. However, what I'm also trying to say is that for someone who's with that price tag, he's got to deliver the gold. And unfortunately, I don't think he has. Valentine Holmes heads into the season, will be heading into next season with a lot of pressure. He'll be heading to the season with a lot of, in my opinion, I guess, expectations to deliver. Particularly when you have some new sort of faces around there. Perhaps it's time for him to lift his game up. And I think he can. I know he can. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that he is under pressure. He's got to deliver. There's been spurts of it this season, sparks. But there's also been a lot of games where he's fallen flat, more often than not. So Valentine Holmes, again, people will be looking to him next season to bring that glory that he used to bring, that he used to play. We'll see what happens. For the Eels, I have none other than Mitchell Moses. Mitchell Moses has shown some brilliance. He's also shown some not too good brilliance, should I say, for lack of a better word. And at the same time as well, he's someone who is young and up and coming. I mean, not the youngest player, but he's got a bit of experience. He's been around the old woodwork for a while. He knows what he's doing. Again, Moses, they'll be looking for him to steer the ship. As you notice as well, this list here has a few halves. To be fair, I think they can probably be penciled in as probably the most pressured position, arguably, in the NRL, is the halves position for any halfback 5'8". But anyway, yeah, so back with Mitchell Moses, they're going to be looking at him to steer the ship. What can he do? How can he deliver it? Can he do it in time? Will he improve from last season? Again, all these questions will be asked, but it's all up to Mitchell Moses at the end of the day to give the fans what he can, I'm sure. But there's a lot of pressure heading into him heading his way basically for next season. I'm sure the coach will be looking at that. I'm sure these other players as well vying for his position. For the Penrith Panthers, this one here it's probably a controversial take, but I'm going to take it anyway, and I want to throw it at you guys. I'm going with Jerome Luai here. Again, similar to some other players I've named, bursts of brilliance, absolute brilliance, genius. Again, off the cuff footy. I'm sure you can talk about his origin, but again, we're not talking about rep. We're talking about NRL. And there were moments there where I think Luai has gone missing, even with Cleary. Without Cleary, wasn't great. He admitted himself, could have been better. With Cleary, times yes, no. But I just think he needs to work on his timing, potentially, perhaps. The way he sort of works with Cleary, like I said, he has ad-lib footy, which is good to watch. Sometimes can be costly. But hey, nonetheless, I know he puts his body in the line. But in saying that, I still think he's the most pressured player heading into the Penrith Panthers season. The defending champs, so again, this was pretty hard for me to do. Who do you put under pressure after lifting up the premiership? Don't know. But again, from my perspective, my analysis, I thought it was Jerome Luai for me. Big season heading into next year. Can he deal with the pressure? Have to wait and see. For the Dragons, I've have here, there's a few players. You could select Aaron Woods. You could select probably Suter. For me personally, I've gone with Moses Mabior. Again, Mabior comes from the Tigers. Admitted, hey, could have done better, didn't. But basically has said that he can bring some value into the Dragons team. Now again, he has a wealth of experience. He's also played rep footy. He's somebody, in my opinion, who has shown, it's cliche, but brilliance has been there. He's got the pace, he's got the knowledge of the game. But again, how can he turn it and how can he help this Dragons team? Again, the Dragons have McCulloch, they've got Ben Hunt, you know what I mean? So how can Mabior add to that foray of players? How can he gel? How can he mix? When you throw in Aaron Woods as well, like I said, it could have been a toss-up between those two for under pressure. But I know that Mabior comes in here with a lot of pressure. You can say he doesn't because he's new club. I think the expectations are still the same. For somebody who has been around, you got to accept it. And I think for me personally, he comes into this as a player who, in my opinion, is going to be pressured. What is he going to do? What can he do? Can he help? Time is ticking. We'll have to wait and see. For the Rabbitohs, I have here none other than Mr. Latrell Mitchell. We all know he can be a very exciting player to watch. Literally the reason why tickets get sold. And at the same time, he can also be a player who can be very controversial. Some people are very down the line with him. Either side. But I think for myself personally, I enjoy seeing him. Now, the reason why he's under pressure is, again, he brings a brilliance to his game that cannot be matched. I don't think you can ever see again. But at the same time, he brings ill discipline that you see from players who normally don't last very long. You know what I mean? So these that I think the sort of contrast with Latrell Mitchell. We love seeing him play, but I still think he's under a lot of pressure to deliver. Not only that, but under a lot of pressure to actually keep a cool head. Things didn't really work out well for him, as we all know. It's a storied event. I spoke about it before. But again, we look into the season here, and heading into next year, can Latrell Mitchell keep a cool head and deliver what the fans want? Because I'm telling you, and I'll say it again, in that grand final, all that was missing was Latrell Mitchell. But unfortunately, due to ill discipline, he couldn't be there. But I'm telling you, heading into this season next year, a lot of pressure, but also somebody who can deliver. Which one is it going to be? We'll have to wait and see. For the Roosters, I have Victor, the Inflictor, Mr. Radley. Mr. Victor, Radley, Victor. We all love his big hits. Hey? We all love the fact that he can sort of soldier on. He's got that sort of, tough dog mentality. That tough nut mentality. However, at the same time, he brings with himself a lot of unwanted baggage. Aggression, which is cool, but not when it's used incorrectly. He brings with him as well, or discipline. Again, very costly in our game, particularly with the way it's played now. Very, very costly. And on top of that as well, he brings, I guess, a ruthless streak about him, which is good, but again, can be a hindrance. Victor Radley, for me personally, is the most under pressure player heading into the Roosters, heading into next season, because of those things I've mentioned. And on top of that as well, he can deliver. But again, there's just so much ill discipline, suspensions, all that stuff there. The pressure for him is to actually try and be disciplined, to keep a cool head, and at the same time to stick around long enough to actually be considered, part of a constant Roosters roster. Again, that's all up to him. We'll have to wait and see. So, for the Tigers, I have none other than James Tamou. James Tamou heads into this as the captain, I believe, for next season. But let's not sort of kid ourselves here. Last season was, for Tigers, a very tough season, so to speak. I guess you can say that. A lot of downs, a little bit of ups, but a lot of downs. Tamou has been picked as captain for his experience. He's been there before, rep-wise as well. He's got that grit, that determination. I'm sure he's got the discipline. He's got all those good key attributes. However, as a leader, you still need to see something different from the Tigers. That's reality. It's tough to understand. It's tough to swallow. Perhaps something you don't really want to look at. But that's the reality there. James Tamou needs to deliver. And as a captain, he needs to. Tigers need to go better than what they've done. And ultimately, it lays on the captain's shoulders. Obviously, people can say coach. You can say other players. But the reason why you're captain is because you accept responsibility. And sometimes that responsibility can be too great. When in that case, you look for another leader. Again, I'll say no more on that matter regarding James Tamou. But just, I think anyway, he's under pressure heading into next year the most for the Tigers. We got the Warriors here. And this is, again, it's all subjective. But for me personally, I put down Shania Hurst-Tavita. Shania Hurst-Tavita last season played a few games, has had quite a well-documented injury, should I say, heading into, this season anyway. There's been a lot of players who criticize his play, some who want more, some who just don't care about him at all. However, he needs to prove himself. When you've got other people breathing down your neck, aka Ash Taylor, Cody Nikorima to an extent, I guess, supposedly. Again, players there, you got Sean Johnson there, who solidified his spot. There's going to be a lot of players there who are vying for that spot, and Shania Hurst-Tavita is somebody who is very promising defensively, still needs to sort of bring it offensively, needs to probably adapt his game more to learn more and all that stuff, and I'm sure it all come with timing. I'm sure Sean Johnson will be there with him, carrying him under his wing, all that stuff there. However, I still think he is under pressure. Shania Hurst-Tavita is expected to deliver and go far better than what he has in the last couple of seasons, particularly this season here. But in saying that, like everything I've said, it's all up to the player there. But again, that is my thoughts there. So, your team, you tell me, am I right? Am I wrong? That's okay. But in saying that, that's what I've had there. Guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it very much. Thanks again for watching this video. You're the best for making it this far. And in case I don't put anything else out, but I'm pretty sure I might, well, we'll see. Have a Merry Christmas. Be well. Be blessed. See you guys next time. And just remember, hey, if you're going to celebrate Christmas and be merry, what do you have to do? Hold the ball. See you guys next time. Take it easy.